life of David Carradine is being dissected from every angle right now as family and fans try to figure out what went wrong. Tonight, we go inside his will to look at the legacy he could leave behind.
This is not your, all-American family situation.
Carradine was married 5 times, fathered 7 children, and has many grandchildren. The question now, who stands to inherit his estate?
In all likelihood, it's his last and 5th wife who has the greatest claim to his estate, as well as his 7 children. So dividing his estate potentially 8 ways, that's a lot of slices of pie in the estate.
Nass is an attorney and the author of Wills of the Rich and Famous. He says Carradine's estimated worth is in the millions, thanks to acting income earned from over 40 years of film and television work, and in recent years, his series of Yellow Book commercials.
We are all searching for something. A new car, a reliable plumber.
I'm sure each of the children will have legal representation, which will make this even more complicated as time goes on.
His real estate, including his Los Angeles home with a tennis court seen in this footage from actor Nick Granado, could be worth millions. Nass says the way the actor died would not affect the inheritance claims of his survivors, but could affect a life insurance payout. With all the competing interests vying for David's estate, Nass says a final settlement could take a while.
It'll be very interesting to watch this unfold. For a 72-year-old man, he was quite prolific and left a lot of survivors who will always all want a piece of the kung fu action.
David was not only a grandfather, he was also a great-grandfather, so there could be more heirs popping up for his fortune. But first, did the king of pop die broke, and who did he leave his estate to? Tonight, what could be the most stunning effect of his death? We investigate Michael Jackson, the will.
There is a will. I have a team of lawyers gathering today, and we will sort through all this stuff for the children.
Michael's manager, Frank DeLeo, telling Meredith Vieira on NBC's Today that the most important thing to Michael, if the unthinkable happened, was that his 3 children were taken care of.
In all likelihood, he left his estate in 3 equal shares to his 3 children.
With reports saying that Jackson died in debt between $400 and $500 million, Nass, author of Wills of the Rich and Famous, tells us that Jackson's children won't be saddled with that burden.
Michael Jackson's estate will be responsible for his debts. They are not going to be borne by his children individually, but the debts that he had are debts of his estate, which of course will reduce his estate as a result, and thereby reduce what his 3 children will ultimately inherit from him.
Nass says creditors cannot take over the publishing rights to Michael's music. Those will go to the kids. With those and other deals, Nass feels Michael could supplant Elvis as the highest-earning dead celebrity.
And Elvis's estate, although he didn't die with a lot of money at his death, has subsequently generated hundreds of millions of dollars.
On the strength of Thriller, Michael sold over a mind-boggling 750 million albums worldwide. And according to Forbes magazine, Jackson ruled the 80s and early 90s.
He made every year somewhere between $30 and $70 million. He was able to make millions and millions of dollars based on the back catalog of his own recordings, concert touring, and the fact that he owned half of the Beatles catalog.
Unfortunately, Michael wasn't able to hold on to his fortune, and Nass tells us he would expect that Michael named a professional advisor and a trusted family member as executors of his will.
That way there would be a good balance between the personal side and the professional side so that his estate is properly managed.
Once again, sorting this all out will be fodder for stories for weeks to come. But still ahead right here tonight, the women who loved and lost Michael Jackson.
Diana Ross being named as a potential guardian for Michael Jackson's children wasn't the only bombshell inside his will. Now, our expert climbs inside the pages for what you miss.
He expressly disinherits Deborah Rowe. Even though she's a former wife, he stated explicitly that she had no interest in his estate.
The mother of his 2 older children is out. Michael's beloved mother, Catherine, is named as a guardian. But we have confirmed that Rowe's lawyers will be heading to court.
It's clear who was important to Michael at the time he died. His 3 children were paramount. Clearly, he loved his mother, respected his mother.
Nass, the author of Wills of the Rich and Famous, says Michael's will means that his mother has tremendous influence over how his fortune is spent for his children.
By the fact that she'll be the guardian of those children, she'll be involved in the income that his estate generates, because that income will ultimately go to his children.
Michael clearly paid close attention to his will.
He chose to initial not just every page, but almost every paragraph. To the right of each paragraph are his initials MJ, and that's pretty rare. You don't normally see that.
Michael lived his life in secret and raised his children wearing masks and veils. That secrecy continues in his will. He shields his finances and beneficiaries by putting his assets into a family trust.
And the terms of that trust are not matter of public record, but it appears that it's primarily for his 3 children, and there may be some charitable beneficiaries as well.
Michael's will is extremely important not only to his heirs, but to his creditors. By some accounts, he died $500 million in debt. We'll never know if Michael had plans to update his will, but I'm sure this one will be contested on quite a few levels. Here's what we're working on for Monday.
The king of pop is back in the headlines tonight. Here is the latest information from our Michael Jackson investigation. Could Catherine be cut out of Michael's will? That's the new question as Jackson's mom filed these papers, asking a judge, can she object to the men named as executors of her son's estate and still collect her inheritance of cash?
2 men, Michael's longtime friends and advisors, John Branca and John McClain, were named executors of Michael's estate. His mother, Catherine, is seeking to object to that. Now, here's the problem. Michael had a no contest clause in his will, which means if anyone objects to his last wishes, they get no money. Now, Catherine was already given guardianship of the children, plus a reported 40% of Michael's estate. Why is she pushing for more?
Attorney Herb Nass, author of Wills of the Rich and Famous, breaks down the legal challenge.
The real motive is leverage and negotiating with the executors of her son's will. The will names her as the guardian of his children, but apparently she believes that she should be more involved in the estate, potentially. It would be very unlikely